2. Clearing the fog. The world tumbled in on me like hay from the loft door, each blade cutting with knife-sharp pain. Had no way to collect my wits. My thoughts spread out with the hay. Sounds rained down. Crying. Ma crying the high, soul-deep sobs she cried when Missy died. Shouting. A man shouting, "Hold him steady!" Pa saying, "There's so much blood," like he spoke from his sleep. Couldn't keep my eyes frontwise. They kept spinning as wild as my stomach. Man said, "I'm setting it." Then lightning struck again, shooting up my leg and into my skull, sending me deep into the fog. Woke with my mind filled with mud, my thoughts too dirty and slow to come clear. My stomach rolled like the turn of a wagon's wheel. My leg bones felt like metal, heated up good and red. I panted to keep up with the pain. Didn't do me no good. Screaming didn't either, but my mouth took its own leave. "Gabe!" Ma called for Pa. Felt her arm around my head, her hands touching my chin and my chest. "You hold on, Nate. Hold on." Hold on to what, Ma? I wondered, as I slipped right out of the room to wherever it is a body goes when it falls asleep. The pain woke me often, but most times sleep turned out to be heavier, pulling me right back down. When the pain won out, screaming carried me through. Ma holding me, cooing over me, calling for Pa. Ma said it took over a week for that pain to give up its hold on me. Long about then, I woke up with a hunger so bad, thought my stomach might turn on the rest of my insides for a little something to eat. Ma fed me soup, crying the whole time. Didn't have my mind on nothing but food and the ache in my leg that ran out of room with only a thigh, shin, and foot to fill, so it moved out through the rest of me. Took so much of me I fainted before I could fill my belly. But each day the pain got weaker, and soon I could eat a meal without making Ma cry. Had to lie pretty still, though, and not just 'cause moving felt like breaking my leg all over again. The doc said I had to lie stone still if I wanted that leg to heal as much as the body allows. He had it hanging in the air like a side of beef, told me to lie still so the bones didn't move under my skin. What I really didn't like was how he said, "as much as the body allows." What do you mean by that? He held his breath a second. Doc Kelly does that when he doesn't want to talk. Then he said, "Your leg won't ever mend properly, Nathaniel. There's been too much damage. Best we can hope for is that the bones grow back together strong enough to hold your weight, so I can walk again?" He nodded, slow. "But walking is about all you'll be able to do, and that'll be hard going. If the bones grow back." Right. Half wished my mind would fog up again so there'd be no room for the new thoughts rolling in. I'd be a cripple. Couldn't run if a bear chased me. Might not even be able to stand. What's a man do if he can't stand? Sit around, collecting dust, while the rest of the world earned their living. Ma took to telling me about hidden blessings, saying I should be thankful Doc Kelly had come to town to tend to his dying father. Not 10 doctors in all of Nebraska would know how to use traction. Didn't feel so blessed in that. He drilled a hole in my bone, like a carpenter drills through wood, had me trussed up in a bed so I couldn't move. Said I'd be there for months. What's the blessing in that? But I kept my lips tight and my head nodding. She smiled, saying I'd be free to go to school once my bone mended. But what do I need with schooling? I had no designs in books and such. I wanted to be out there helping Pa. He lost most of the hay, and the wheat and corn took a beating in the storm. Heard him tell Ma the Clemson cattle ran the fence again, ate up the north field of corn. We needed every ear of that corn if we wanted to make good on our homestead claim. Pa needed the money to pay off the bank for all of our equipment and seed. And what was I doing? Lying around like a freeloader, watching Pa march out into the fields alone. Ma helped when she could, when she wasn't nursing me like a little baby. I kept telling her, "I'm fine, go help Pa." She'd say, "Your Pa could be in here helping me." Truth was, I hadn't seen much of Pa except through my bedroom window. He had no time for socializing. Went out before dawn, came back at sundown, ate, then slept. And I tried to keep my mind on other things that could give him a hand in some way. Ma did her part. Nights she sat up to work on her tinkering, fixing pots, clocks, hand tools. Used to be we delivered them after church on Sundays. Ma and Pa sat up in the front of the wagon while I ran to the goods to the front door. Folks would take the clock or whatnot, then nod out to Pa, saying, "Thanks, Gabe." They'd pay us in anything they could. Cups, coins, eggs, fresh beef, even a dress one time. Never told no one Ma did the tinkering. She learned it from her Pa, but folks didn't take to woman doing a man's work. Didn't seem right to me. If a thing's fixed, it's fixed. What's the matter who fixed it? Things work out fine for me, Ma'd say. Give us some food over the winter. Now tinkering is something a man could do, even in bed. I asked Ma to show me how it's done. She brought me the old clock her grandfather built. Take this apart, find out how it works, put it back together. And with that she walked out. No, this is how you do it. Just take this apart. At least she gave me some tools to use. Old ones. She kept all tied up in a cloth pouch and tucked away in her tinker box. 2 years ago we came to Nebraska with not much more than that old tinker box. Ma insisted on a wood house. She said she wouldn't leave home to live in the dirt. Pa had to sell everything we had to buy the wood and pay to ship it and us all the way to Nebraska, on the train. So we started out with a nice empty wood house. No windows, no doors, no furniture. We slept on piles of our own clothes. Brought in most of our house by tinker trade. A fixed clock, with promise of lifetime repair, bought us some dishes from an old woman who had a wedding set from her first marriage that her second husband didn't like. We got an old table for fixing a brush rake. The farmer put up quite a stink over having to bring the machine over to our place. Papa said he could only work on it when he had the time away from farming, so Ma fixed it in the barn. Chairs came to us through piecework. Ma fixed pots and scythes and rakes and picks for eggs, or some such took what we needed, then traded the rest to Ralph Pitcher for store credit at the Mercantile. We ate standing up for near to a year before we had all 3 chairs. Pa did his part too. He made our beds out of fence posts he got from helping Tin Harper put up a fence on his ranch. Haying on the McKinley place on Sundays earned us a few windows. We lived by trade mostly. Come winter, Ma traded for food goods. By spring, she traded for shares of folks' seed. Tinkering kept us going, so I figured I'd do my share, if I could get a handle on it. But I swear, a clock's got more pieces than a watermelon's got seeds. Took me a week of Sundays to get it apart, and I figured I'd have it back together long about the time I started growing chin hair. Ma didn't help me none. Pa didn't pay any attention. Doc Kelly just shook his head and laughed as he checked for infection. Skin's nice and pink. What am I, a pig? He pricked my toes. I howled like a penned hound dog. He asked, Feel that? Didn't the owl tell you? Told me your foot hurts, not if you can feel your toes. And what if I can't? They may just fall off. He didn't so much as crack a smile. My stomach filled with ice. Pardon? Your legs got terrible circulation, Nate. Not a lot of blood going to these toes. He rubbed them, making them burn. Gotta keep the blood moving, or you could lose them. Knew an old man back in Illinois who lost his toes to frostbite. Walked like he had a stump for a foot. Should I wiggle them? No! He looked like I'd threatened to skin him. Don't so much as twitch a muscle in that leg of yours. But it aches and itches, and sometimes it hops on its own. When my muscles hopped, I near about tore a hole in my bed for the pain of it. Leave it be, Nate. It'll only heal if you leave it be. And I left it be all winter long. Sitting up in bed, I listened to Pa fret as he tried to fix that full clock. He figured we didn't have enough to seed the crops next year, or pay interest on the loan from the bank to cover the money. He wasn't able to pay back, not to mention the help he needed, but he couldn't afford to pay. Staring at all its gears, I daydreamed that if I could put it together just right, I might be able to wind it backward to the day when a stupid bolt of lightning took my whole life away. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it if you subscribed, hit the thumbs up, commented what audiobooks you'd like me to do next, and of course share this with your friends if you think they enjoy it. See you guys.